Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to our next week of free online classes being taught here by the Delphian School. I'm James, and this morning we're going to be continuing talking about first aid and emergencies. If you haven't been with us the last 2 weeks, that's okay. There's nothing that you need to have from those prior weeks in order to track with what we're going to be covering today. But if you did miss it, I recommend going back. You can find all of our online classes on YouTube, on the Delphian School's YouTube channel. There's hundreds of classes on there from over the last few months. So please go help yourself. You will not run out of content to watch. We're talking today, let me pull up my slide here. The first thing we're going to be talking about is animal bites. So as I've talked about in our prior classes, this can be kind of a serious subject. First aid, emergencies, people getting hurt, people getting injured, how to help them. It can be kind of serious, but I'm not covering it from an angle of this is super serious and upsetting. It's like stuff happens in life. You get burned, you get scraped, and you are able to do something about it and to help yourself, fix yourself, heal yourself, help your friends, help strangers that you might be passing in the world, and, a guy falls and scrapes his knee, you can go and help him out. So we're going to talk about that. This is Benjamin. Benjamin is our trusty sidekick here, and he has volunteered to receive any imaginary injuries that we might be talking about today. So you can see he's still recovering from his skinned knee from last week. This bandage can probably come off now, but it looks pretty cool, so I'm going to leave it on there. So thank you, Benjamin. Okay. I want to pop into the Q&A section. Those of you who are familiar with our classes know that we use the Q&A section a lot. I'll ask you questions and you can answer them there, and you can ask me questions and I'll answer them if at all possible. I apologize ahead of time if I'm not able to take up your comment or take up your question within the broadcast here. I do like to hang around for a few minutes after the camera feed ends. I like to hang out in the Q&A section and answer as much as I can before we run out of time. All right, hello to everyone that's saying hello here. All right. There's more people saying hello to Benjamin than are saying hello to me. Well, that's all right. I don't blame you guys. I would do the same thing. Okay, good. Great. We're gonna jump into this. We're gonna keep going here. The material that we're learning out of today comes from heronbooks.com, and they're a great source for educational materials. There we go. There's the website, heronbooks.com. If you're looking for this pack, if you're looking for this course that we're teaching out of today, I will pull it up here. I want my screen to cooperate. There we go. All right, here's what it looks like. Basic first aid and emergencies. This is, I forget the exact price, $15 maybe on heronbooks.com. Great course, great material to have on hand. All right. Animal bites. Most mouths carry lots of germs. So when a person has been bitten, whether by an animal or a person, you have to be careful to make sure you handle the germs. If nearby skin even begins to get puffy or red, or it looks like an infection may be starting, get medical help. If the bite is deep or is a puncture wound, even though it's from a pet, get medical help right away and don't wait for signs of infection. Don't take a chance with animal bites. That is definitely true. Even if it's your own dog, even if it's your own cat, as we covered last week, puncture wounds where you're not just scraped on the skin, something actually goes deep in, it really allows germs to get deep inside and it's hard to get them out. And your body is really good at fighting infections, but sometimes you want to help it out. Okay. Pardon me for a moment as I catch up on the questions here. Okay, so Mackenzie and Denali are asking about crayfish pinches. They have 4 trained crayfish, or crayfish, crawdads. They're called different things in different regions of the United States. Little tiny lobster type things that you find in creeks and rivers and stuff like that. I would treat a pinch from a crawdad. You say crayfish. I'm going to call it crawdad because that was the term where I grew up in Michigan. I would treat a pinch from a crawdad like I would any other bite or scrape from any other animal. If it's just on the surface, okay, cool, you can clean it off, as we've talked about scrapes in prior classes, and watch for signs of infection. If it goes deep, you're going to want to treat that more like a puncture wound. All right, so there's one more important danger to watch out with animal bites. Sometimes mammals such as dogs and cats carry a deadly disease in their saliva called rabies. They can get it by being bitten by another animal that has it. Dogs and cats sometimes get rabies from wild animals like bats, skunks, and raccoons. To help prevent this, dogs are required to get shots every 2 or 3 years to protect them against rabies. There are also shots for cats, but they are not required. Rabies can make animals act in odd ways. So if a wild animal acts strangely, stay away from it. For example, skunks and raccoons don't usually stay around humans, but if one wanders into a backyard acting confused and angry, it's better to beware. If any mammal bites you, it's important to tell your parent or another adult right away. Yeah, we had a squirrel in my backyard. We had a lot of squirrels in my backyard growing up in Michigan, and one of them was acting really weird, really crazy. And my dad called animal control, and animal control came and they captured it. They caught it in a cage, and they tested it for rabies because they wanted to make sure that it didn't have rabies and that it wasn't spreading rabies around to other squirrels around there and stuff like that. Turns out that squirrel did not have rabies. It was just kind of crazy, but it would just run in circles for like 5 minutes in a yard, just run in circles. I don't know why. Okay, well, I'm glad you have that vital information. Bats can also carry rabies, so it's risky to touch a bat, even a dead one. If there is a bat that has got inside a building and won't fly out, let an adult know or call animal control for your area. All right, so, and this next part is, again, it's kind of serious, but I'm not telling you guys this in order to make it serious and upsetting. I'm telling you this so that we are in a position where we don't have to be super serious, where we know that we can handle the problem. We can, make ourselves healthy and keep ourselves healthy. If rabies isn't treated, it will kill a person or animal that has it. So when a person is bitten by an animal, it becomes important to know if the animal has rabies. If you are bitten by a pet, your doctor or veterinarian can advise what to do. If it is a wild animal, there is a number to call by looking up local animal control for your area. You and an adult should let them know what happened and follow their instructions. So, bad news is rabies is lethal if you don't treat it. Good news is with the medicines that we have today, if you know, like, hey, I got bit, that animal might have rabies, and you get treated for it, there is a very, 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 very high chance that you will survive it and be totally fine. Good. I'm going to catch up with the Q&A section really quick. All right. Okay, we're getting a lot of really good questions here. Questions about food poisoning. I think we're going to be covering that later. Not today, but I think next week that's going to come up. All right. What if an animal scratches you? Adira asked. So if an animal scratches you, treat it the same way as a bite. There's probably not going to be as much bacteria and as much germs on the paws and on the claws as there are with the teeth. But still, if it breaks the skin, at that point, you're going to want to treat it medically. All right. Oh, Gerard is saying that his mother put iodine on his, I guess he got a cut or a scrape or something, and his mother put iodine on it as well as hot water, and that the iodine hurt. It stung a lot worse than the hot water did. That can happen. That is the medicine. That's the iodine reacting with the open wound, with the stuff on your skin, with the germs inside of it. You can expect something like that, iodine or hydrogen peroxide or other other things that might be put on to clean a wound, you can expect it to sting. And when you feel that sting, perceive it as a good sensation. Like, yes, I expected this to hurt a bit. I know that this pain means that this thing is killing the germs that are trying to infect my body. I will accept this pain. It's a good thing, and we'll get through it. Yeah. All right. And Gerard's asking, would me or Benjamin feel the same way if we put iodine on a cut? Yeah, I've done that, and it does sting for, I guess, 10, 15 seconds, and then it felt a lot better. And I felt better afterwards knowing that that cut has now been disinfected, and there's a much less likely chance that I will get an infection from it. Okay. Wow, so many amazing questions here. I'm sorry if I don't get a chance to cover everything. Okay. All right, thank you for your patience. So Anea asks, is a dog bite dangerous? As we covered here a few minutes ago, if you get bitten by a dog, assume that you should get some help with that. Tell an adult, tell your parents if they're there, and they can talk to the doctor, they can talk to the veterinarian and find out, is that dog okay? Does that dog have rabies or some other disease? Do they need to help treat the dog? And they'll make sure that your wound is cleaned out and properly treated. Okay, I'm gonna move on here really quick. So here's the situation. A person is bitten by a mammal, animal, or human, and the bite breaks the skin. Here's what you do. First aid, scrub the bite well with soap and water to remove saliva, the drool in your mouth or in the animal's mouth. Apply antibiotic ointment and cover with a bandage. Get medical help if the bite is severe, is a puncture wound, or looks like it may be getting infected. Get help if the animal is unfamiliar to you, if the animal behaves strangely, if the animal that bit you disappears and can't be found, or if the animal dies. Okay, so here we have Benjamin. Benjamin was out working on his fort, as we know that he likes to do on the weekends. And he got bitten by a dog. There was a dog out there. He didn't know this dog. Maybe it was the neighbor's dog. And he got bit. Okay, Benjamin. So first thing we're going to do is put on our gloves. If you don't have gloves with you that you can put on before you treat someone, like a clean plastic bag, a plastic grocery bag will do. A plastic trash bag, as long as it's clean, it's fresh, and doesn't have a bunch of trash in it. Something to put kind of a plastic or latex barrier between you and the person that you're working with, because you don't want the germs from your hands to get into their cut, and you don't want their blood to get onto you. You're keeping both people safe from this. All right, buddy, let's see. All right. Left arm is where you got bit. Yes, I can see there's a bite mark there. It's not super deep, but there's a bite mark. All right. Good. Scrub the bite well with soap and water to remove saliva. Apply antibiotic ointment and cover with a bandage. So we go over to our sink, which is right here. Here's the sink. And water, water, water. We'll put some soap on it, and we're washing that well. I'm not rubbing super hard on that. As we all know, when we have an injury on our skin, a bite or a scrape or a scratch, it's pretty tender. So we don't want to be rubbing it. As much as possible, I'm going to have Benjamin do the cleaning for me so that I'm not, he'll have a better sense of how hard he can press or how close he can get to the wound without it hurting. But if I see that there's a bit in there that I need to clean that he's not comfortable with, I will, as carefully as I can, help him do that. All right, we have that cleaned off, and we're going to dry it. We're going to take a paper towel, and again, I'm going to pat. I'm not going to rub because that would possibly make the wound worse. I'm going to pat, pat, pat to dry it off and get the water off. Excellent. Let's see, it's small enough that we can use just a Band-Aid. I don't need a big bandage. Here's a biggish kind of Band-Aid. Let's use that one, shall we? We're going to open this up. And before I put that on, we have our antibiotic ointment, which we've talked about in prior weeks. It is, kind of a cream that you put onto a wound, and it gets in there and it helps kill a lot of the bacteria. It kills the germs that might go in and cause the body problems. Let me open this one up here. And let's see if, excuse me, Benjamin, I'm going to have you sit down over there. I'm going to take this pad here and take some of the, I hope you can see this. It's just this kind of mostly clear gel that comes out. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's kind of white, kind of looks like sunscreen. That will come on out of there. There's usually quite a bit in these. And I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera. But you're going to rub that in, onto the wound carefully so that it covers any open areas on the skin. And you have it like that. And then you're going to put your bandage over that. So you have the wound is now cleaned off. You've put the antibiotic ointment onto it in order to prevent infection, and the bandage goes on top. I'm going to clean the rest of this ointment off with my glove. So let's pretend that we put that, pardon me here, cleaning up my area. We put that ointment on the bite on Benjamin's arm. We are going to put the Band-Aid over the area. It's quite sticky on these gloves. I did not anticipate that. Okay. Fair warning, if you're wearing gloves, which you should be, Band-Aids stick a lot better to them than they do to skin right away. There we go. He's patched up. Now, Benjamin, we're gonna go tell your mom that you got bit by a dog. And let her address it from there. Before we move on, I'm gonna cover again how to properly take off gloves. I was working with Benjamin. I might have gotten some of his blood on my gloves here. I definitely got some of the antibiotic ointment cream on my gloves, and I don't want to be touching other stuff with these dirty gloves. So I'm going to pinch the inside wrist, the wrist of one of these gloves here, and pull it over like that. It is now inside out. Any ointment, any blood, any dirt is now inside this glove. I'm going to hold this glove in the other hand, and then I can get my fingers under that part of the wrist right there and pull that out inside out. And now everything is inside here. This will now go into a trash can. Safe. Okay. Catching up on Q&A. Give me just a moment here. Okay. Excellent. Amelia is asking if we can't make next week's class, could we buy this course on hair and books? And will food poisoning be in the course? Okay, so if you can't make next week's class, yes, please do buy this course from hairandbooks.com. Again, I think it's only $15 or so. And if you miss next week's class, all these classes are put onto YouTube within a day or two of them being delivered. I cannot remember off the top of my head if food poisoning is covered in this class. So a little bit later, I'm going to peek ahead with all of you and we'll see what's covered, because I would like to answer that for you. Okay. We've got some stories here about people being bitten by dogs. I hope that you are all okay. Okay. Anna's never been bitten by an animal, but has been scratched. Yeah, I've never been bitten by an animal, not a dog or a cat or anything else, but I've definitely been scratched by a cat. And my mom helped me clean it off, and the scratch from the cat hurt worse than I thought it would, and it hurt for a few days. And cat scratches can be, their claws are pretty sharp and can go pretty deep. And my mom definitely put some antibiotic ointment on it, and we watched it closely. And after about 3 days, it started to feel better. But that one surprised me with how long it took to start feeling better. Yeah. Okay, Moving on. Let's find out what we do if we get something in our eye. A person's eyes can be easily damaged, so it's good to know what to do when an eye is hurt. When a person gets something in his eye, it can be very uncomfortable. Even a tiny piece of dust or an eyelash can cause a lot of pain. The person might want to rub his eye to make it feel better. This can cause more damage and is not a good idea. If a person gets something in an eye, you should deal with it carefully so that the eye isn't scratched or injured further. I think we've all been in that scenario when we've got dust or an eyelash, or maybe it's pollen season and you've got pollen in your eyes, and it just feels so good to just get in there and just grind away. You're like, yes, it feels so much better. And then as soon as you stop, it starts to burn, and it burns worse, and it itches worse. It's extremely uncomfortable. But for that briefest moment when you're scratching it and it feels like relief, you're actually causing more damage when you do that. And as hard as it is, you have to control yourself to not do that. Speaking from experience here. So here's the situation. Benjamin has something in the eye. All right. First, the person should try blinking his eye to get the object to come out naturally. Okay, well, I'm going to do this with Benjamin here. We're going to blink. I'm going to take it off of screen share here. We're going to blink, 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 blinking as much as possible. And you can often feel where that object, even if it's a small piece of, it's that piece of dust or an eyelash or something, you can feel where it is in your eye. It's very sensitive. And you're blinking and you can kind of feel it moving around, feel it coming forward. And a lot of times it'll just kind of come on out. Great. Blinking does that on purpose. The eye is designed to get stuff out. All right, let's say we're blinking and that doesn't do it. If that doesn't work, try to wash it out with eye drops or a flow of water. You can get your head under a sink and get a flow of lukewarm water there. You don't want hot water. You don't want to burn yourself. And cold water is just uncomfortable. So some nice warm water, and see if that can help get the stuff out. If you have eye drops and you got a dropper, you can bloop, 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 try to get that stuff out of there. You can also try very gently to get the object out of the eye with a corner of a gauze pad or a clean cloth. If these steps don't work, the person should get medical attention. All right, so I do have a clean gauze pad here. This is sterile. I just took it out of its packaging just before the class here to use for demonstrations. Let's say I have something in my left eye and I'm blinking, and I got some water in there, and I can kind of feel like I can feel it down towards the corner of the eye here. I'm going to very, very gently, if it's stressed. And if you're not comfortable with it, definitely get to an adult, get your parents, get them to help you. And you can see if you can kind of dab it out with that pad. You want to be super gentle with that. All right. That doesn't work. You've got to get more help. Got to. Another situation, something stuck in the eye or the eye is scratched. So if an object doesn't come out easily or if the pain persists, leave the eye alone and get medical care right away. Don't mess around with it. You've got two eyes. It's great to have both of them. You really want to treat any situation with your eyes with a lot of respect. If you're not sure what to do, doing something might make it worse. You want to get to a doctor. You want to get to a medical office so they can take the appropriate next steps. All right, it can be helpful to keep the eye closed so it does not become more irritated. To do this, you can cover the closed eye with a gauze pad and tape this in place. This also helps the person remember not to rub it. So, boop. Let's say something is in here, you could not get the thing out. You're working on your fort and you got a splinter of wood in the eye or some dirt in there and you can't get it out. It's good to put this over it. You can tape over it. Not only will keeping your eye closed keep it all still and keep it from moving around in there, which could make it worse, but also if you go to just kind of like absent-mindedly touch your eye, you'll remember, oh, there's a thing there, and it'll stop you from accidentally making it worse. Get to the doctor. They will be able to help you with the next steps there. Benjamin, I hope you don't mind that I took that injury upon myself. Good. Actually, though, should we tape something on Benjamin's eye here? Let me grab some tape real quick. All right. I just feel like Benjamin should show everything that we've worked on. So I'm going to take this super clean gauze pad. We're going to put it over his eye. This is masking tape. This would not be my first choice of tape to use in a medical situation, but it's what we have here. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use it. That is not peeling. It keeps ripping as I try to peel it. There we go. Ripped again. Okay, now we can prove that we have talked about what to do if you get something in your eye. Benjamin almost got away from that one. All right. We're going to talk about skin poisoning from plants, but let me catch up on the Q&A section really quick. Okay. Shanna is saying that Benjamin can't blink. Yeah, Benjamin should not blink while he still has that stuff in his eye. You want to make sure that he gets to a doctor. Lorna says, I thought that eyelashes were supposed to help protect your eyes, not harm them or make the eye uncomfortable. Absolutely true. Definitely correct. And the way that eyelashes are designed, you've got that, the eyelashes kind of go like this so that if stuff comes in from the sides to your eyeball, the eyelashes are shielding it and pushing it away. But sometimes one of them comes out, and while most often the eyelash will go out and away from your eye, sometimes something goes wrong, or you rub your eye and you accidentally push the eyelash into it. So the eyelashes are definitely designed to protect your eye, and not everything goes according to plan sometimes. Life is just kind of like that sometimes. Okay. Good. Noah says he's a pirate now. Yes, he's a pirate. Lorna asked, would submerging your head in the water and then opening your eyes under the water and moving your head around help? I think it would. I've never tried that, and it's not covered in here, but I mean, the whole point is just to get water in there, and between the water and your natural tears and lubrication from your own body to get the stuff out of your eye. If you're comfortable opening your eyes underwater, which I'm not really great at that. I definitely need goggles when I go swimming, but the more water there, the more you can, if it's nice, clean water, I say go for it. Yeah. That's my personal recommendation. That's not from the course. Okay. And Tanisha is asking, what should you do if you're home alone? If you're home alone and you have this thing happen, call someone. If you can't see your phone, you can use, Siri or Hey Google or something like that to try to call someone, call your mom or dad, brother or sister if they're older, and they can help you out with that. It's better to have someone to help with this kind of thing rather than trying to manage it by yourself. Liana's asking, are we going to learn how to treat a burn? Liana, yes, we covered that last week. Please go to our YouTube channel and find the class from Monday last week where we talked about different kinds of burns and how to treat them. Good stuff in there. And Katya is reminding me, I haven't said this once today, and it's a bit of an omission. Thank you, Katya, for reminding me. If something gets too intense, or if you're not sure if you need more help and it seems like it's more of an emergency than just, ooh, I got scraped or I got some dust in my eye, call 911 or the emergency number in your country. It's 999 in the UK. It's different numbers in different countries. Call emergency services if you're not sure if you need the help. It's better to overreact than to underreact. It's better to do too much and not need it rather than not do enough and have actually really needed that help. It's okay. Excellent. Oh, and before we move on, Adria is asking, what if you get sunscreen in your eye? That happened to me just a few days ago. It stings. I put sunscreen on all over my face, and then I accidentally rubbed my eye not a smart move. Please don't rub your eye when you have sunscreen on your fingers. And it definitely was burning. So I took some, here we go. I had a towel with me and I put some water on the towel and I was just using the towel to dab my eye like that just to kind of get the sunscreen away from it. And it stung for a few minutes and a few minutes later it was okay. It wasn't too bad. Alrighty, we're going to talk about skin poisoning from plants. If you are in the Pacific Northwest, you are going to be familiar with poison oak. If you're in the Midwest, Michigan, like where I'm from, you're going to know it as poison ivy. In many parts of the country, America, a few plants grow that produce harmful oils in their leaves, stems, and roots. Examples of this are poison oak and poison ivy. When the oils of these plants come in contact with the skin may become blistered and itch and swell for days. This is called poison oak or ivy rash. It is also just called getting poison oak or getting poison ivy or having poison oak or ivy. People get poison ivy or poison oak by touching the plant or by touching clothing that was in contact with the plant. Sometimes a pet may brush against the poison plant and then the owner gets it on his hands by petting the animal, or they brush up against your legs or anything like that. Where I am right now, sometimes there's quite a bit of poison oak that can spring up. It grows in half shaded areas, like right on the border between like a meadow and the woods. It's kind of half in shade. Poison oak and poison ivy really like that territory. If you'll bear with me for just a moment, I have some slides on what it looks like so that you can learn what it looks like and how to avoid it. Pardon me just a moment. If you're not sure if something is poison oak, don't touch it. Poison ivy or poison oak, it's better to just stay away. Don't mess with it. That's a lot better. Excellent. Here we go. Poison ivy and poison oak look very, very similar. On the left is poison ivy. And you can see the two things that these both have in common is the leaves grow in groups of 3. So the saying is, leaves of 3, let it be. I have not done research on where these plants or similar plants might be outside of the United States. So I know that we have some viewers from Pakistan watching right now. I don't know if you have a similar plant like this in Pakistan. I hope not, because they're really annoying. I wouldn't say that they're particularly dangerous. They're just really, really annoying. And it makes it difficult to go out and have a good time just walking through the woods. You got to be watching for this stuff. Over on the right side here, you have poison oak. And this is what I'm used to seeing in the woods sometimes. And you can see the leaves are shiny. They grow in 3. They've got some smooth edges and ridges on the side, and they're very shiny. In America, you can see, here's where poison ivy grows. So sometimes it grows just on the ground, and sometimes there's climbing vines that can climb up trees and buildings and bushes and come at you from the side or above. It's really, I'm not a fan. So if you're in these parts of the United States, heads up, poison ivy might be in your neighborhood. And here's poison oak. There's a Pacific version of it, and everywhere from southern Canada down to northern Mexico and everywhere in between. It'll be on the ground. It'll be climbing trees and stuff if it gets old enough. And then down in the kind of the southeast here, there's a version that likes to grow down there as well. There's also a third version of this, and it's going to look pretty much the same, but it's a slightly different species called poison sumac. And this one grows as a small tree rather than a little bush or as vines. But again, you're going to be looking, it's going to basically look like that. Those 3 leaves growing together. They can be green as the season starts to develop. You get towards later summer or early fall, the leaves start to turn red. Sometimes they'll get bright, bright red, but there will be that shininess on the outside, and that's the oil. That's the oil that you want to watch out for. Okay. Pardon me as I catch up here. Oh, Anna's saying she likes the green screen. Thank you. Looks like my video feed got kind of funny here. Hang on just a second. Let's fix that. There we go. I was very tall there for a moment. All right, Lauren is asking, what's the difference between poison oak and poison ivy? They're two slightly different variations of the same type of plant. They're technically different species of plant, but they do basically the same thing. They look very similar, and you should treat them the same. Okay, what are other ways to get poison oak? So here's the thing. I've had neighbors get poison oak. They did not go out in the woods. They were not messing with plants, but they still got poison oak because one time she had been working out in the woods and had gotten poison oak on her jeans. And then she didn't wash those jeans and she wore those same jeans months later and the oil was still on them. She got poison oak from the oil on her jeans from months ago. If you have a pet, a dog or a cat that goes out in the woods and they brush up against poison oak and they come back and they brush against your leg, you've got it. Some people are not sensitive to poison oak. Some people, they're totally fine. They can be exposed to it and it's not a problem. Other people are extremely sensitive to it. They get one little bit and within a few days, they've got this whole flare up. So, and I used to be not quite so sensitive. And as time has gone on, I more easily have poison oak show up on me. So even if you think that you aren't sensitive to it, or maybe you're a little bit immune to it, that might change. So just treat the plant with respect. Okay. Lauren's asking, are there any poison plants on the tip of the Florida Peninsula? I'm gonna go back super quick to a couple of these slides here. Might have poison ivy down there at the bottom of Florida, and poison sumac, maybe not down past a certain point. So that's good. Okay, so now we have plenty of questions on help. What do I do if I do have poison oak? All right, let's talk about that. Let me pull this up here really quick. All right, situation. Person has brushed against or handled poison ivy or poison oak. First, thoroughly wash the affected skin with a strong soap and water as soon as possible. This takes the harmful oil off of the skin. Dishwashing soap can work well because it is designed to break down grease and oil. There are also products such as Technu and Zanfel available at pharmacies that are good at getting poison ivy or poison oak oil off of skin and clothing. When I'm out working in the woods or clearing down some blackberry bushes or something like that, if I know I've been exposed to poison oak, or if I know that it's likely that I have, I will treat it as if I have been exposed. And I'll come in and the clothes that I take off, they'll go straight into the washer with nothing else in there. And I'll run it on a hot cycle with good soap in there. And then I'll get the oils off of those clothes so I don't have like what happened to my neighbor where I give myself poison oak again the next time I put those clothes on. And I'm hopping right in the shower. If I've been really working in there, I'll just head to toe, use a good soap, scrub. We've all gotten familiar over the last several months on the proper way to wash our hands, right? And that just putting some soap and going like that does not really clean your hands. It rinses your hands. You want soap and you want that friction. A good 20 seconds is at least in order to get whatever was on your hands off of your hands. When I know I've been exposed a lot, I'll wash them twice. So I'll wash and everything like that. And then I'll do it again because I don't want poison oak. If you get that oil off of your skin quickly within, a couple minutes or maybe hours at the most of being exposed to it, there's a good chance you'll be totally fine and it won't happen at all. Okay, oh, here we go. Have the person take off any clothes that came into contact with the plants and carefully turn them inside out to avoid getting more harmful oil on his hands. Then rewash any skin that touched the clothes and wash the clothes with laundry soap in a washing machine to get the harmful oil out. If the person breaks out in a rash, he should avoid scratching it. You may want to apply a soothing lotion such as Calamine lotion, which helps reduce the itching. Okay, so you were out working on your fort, like Benjamin, and you know you came into contact with poison oak. You come inside, you take all your clothes off, they go straight into the washer. You wash with the soap. Despite your best efforts, a few days later, you get a red, really itchy rash starting, and it starts to spread from there. Rats, you got poison oak, or you got poison ivy. Well, the oil that caused it is gone by that point. It's been soaked into your skin or washed away as you've washed every day. But it's still going to be red and itchy and painful for probably a couple of weeks. There are some really great products out there. Calamine lotion, it's this kind of white, it kind of leaves like a chalky sort of paste residue on your skin after you put it on, and that can help soothe it, help reduce the itching from it. This is called Calogel. Probably not gonna see. Yeah, kind of. There we go. Calogel is from a company called Technu. Oh, look, it's got kind of a green label there, so it's acting like green screen. You can see the flowers through it. All right. So this is also really great at just keeping the itchiness down. It gets so itchy. Anyone who's had it here knows what I'm talking about. The only time it feels good is when you are actively like attacking your skin with your own fingernails. Do not do that. That will continue to damage your skin. That will continue to spread the rash. And then you've just got more stuff that you need to itch. It takes the most amount of self-control and strong will I've ever had to impose upon myself to not itch the poison oak. Keep putting gel on it, just keep it going on, keep it going on. Another thing that you can use is aloe vera, which is green. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, look at this super green aloe vera plant that I'm holding up here. That's awesome. I'm going to turn off the green screen for a moment so you can see this properly. Here we go. That's aloe vera. That's what it looks like. And we have 1 or 2 aloe vera plants at home, and the school has several as well. There's a big one in the medical office, and you can break off a piece of it and use, there's this gel that comes out of it, kind of a slime. It's very cooling. It's very refreshing. It feels great on, if you've had a minor burn, you can put it on that, and it's so soothing. Totally natural. The plant will keep growing. It'll just keep growing from where you broke it off. Excellent stuff. If you don't have one of these growing at home, I really highly recommend it. They're super cheap and they grow forever. And it feels great on poison oak as well. You can take you can take a paper towel or a washcloth or a towel and get it wet with cool water and just lay that on top of your poison oak, and the cold will help soothe it. One time it got really bad and I just put it under cold running water. I treated it like a burn. I just put it under cold running water and I let that run over it, and it felt a lot better after a few minutes. If it is getting really bad, let's say you're a week onto this and it's still really bad, or even before that, if it's really hard for you to manage, go to the doctor. Go to the doctor and they can help you out as well. They might have some things to put on it that you might not have. They might have some medicines that can help. Okay, everyone. I'm going to put on the green screen for the grand finale here. Let's see. Let's have a nice, peaceful garden in the background. I can promise you there is no poison oak in this beautiful garden behind us here. Don't worry. You can walk around in safety. Thank you very much for joining me today. Again, heronbooks.com is where all this material is available. This course is only $15 or something like that. A lot of great stuff in it and great to have on hand to refer to if you need help. I'm back tomorrow talking about space science. Have you ever wanted to land a spacecraft on Mars? No? Well, I have. I think about it all the time, and I've put together a handy guide on how to get there and how to land without destroying your spacecraft, which is really good. And we're back on Thursday as well, talking about more space science. Stick around at 11 a.m. here. In about 15 minutes, we've got some music coming up, and at 1:15, we have Science with Marty. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you later.